Hello, salutations, what to do? Seth the Gamer, off how to do our gang, you know, Vibe Flex Crowd. Let's get it. Welcome to the Aftershow podcast with myself and Jay Shockblast and sometimes Casual Avenger. Happy Friday. We got another fun show for you. This is a bit of a Star Wars themed show because they had the Star Wars celebration. A lot of stuff was revealed, including everyone's favorite character, Rey, getting a new movie. We're going to be talking about that. Plus, what's going on in the MCU, a little bit of James Gunn, Superman Legacy updates. We'll recap the Spider-Man 2 showcase news and just talk some shit. So, what's up, Jay Shockblast? How you feeling today, my friend?
It has been a day.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. So we almost lost Thor last night. And I'm better now. We actually just got to go see him. They're keeping him one more night, but it was scary, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but I need this kind of. So I'm glad that we're here tonight. I'm glad people are here with us.
Absolutely.
And looking forward to escaping. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Now, we're supposed to be streaming on the YouTube and Twitch side. The YouTube side is having some technical issues, so if I could solve that, we'll solve that. But until then, we are live on Twitch. So I'll try to troubleshoot as we as we go along. Hopefully we get the YouTube part up and going. But let's get into the first topic of the day, which is Star Wars. We had a lot of Star Wars info, and we even got a whole new timeline of Star Wars nonsense. So
I see Revan in that picture, but I don't remember hearing anything Old Republic.
Yeah, so actually under the Old Republic, they didn't announce anything, but it is officially part of the timeline, and the only thing officially we have for Old Republic is the remake of the Old Republic video game.
Okay.
But no movies or shows yet. But they did a live stream for this, and a lot was revealed. Did you catch the live stream, or what were your overall thoughts of what they revealed?
I kind of followed along throughout the day. It's been a day, and I've been like trying to keep my mind occupied, so I couldn't really like sit still. I did see the Ahsoka trailer, and that looked great. I saw something not really Old Republic per se, but like even before that, they announced that they were doing some kind of like a dawn of the, like, I guess it's the dawn of the Jedi, but like kind of like a Jesus story, I guess.
Yeah, directive. That's the one that actually sounds good. That one's being direct. That's a Dawn of the Jedi. It's about the first Force user. Like they described it as like a biblical tale, and it's directed by James Mangold, who did the Logan movie. So that one sounds like it's actually going to be good. I can't speak for all the projects, but that one I'm excited for.
I'm interested in how they dip into the Legends lore, and if they go back to the days of like Exar Kun and stuff like that, because there were stories that, you know, when George Lucas owned Star Wars, that kind of went back to that era, and they're pretty epic and they're pretty thorough. So I'm wondering if that's kind of where they're going, or if they're just gonna start over and pretend that didn't exist.
Very possible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably what's gonna end up happening, but we'll see. I mean, I'm intrigued by that. I'm gonna be honest with you, like a lot of the older stuff that goes before the Old Republic era doesn't necessarily interest me as much. Just because we're like I mean, you have to like pick and choose what part of the story you love, you know what I mean? and that is like bare bones as it gets. So, and it makes sense because you're going way back in time. But I think the Old Republic is my sweet spot personally.
Okay, I can see that. See, I when it comes to Star Wars for me, like I really love the originals. Obviously, Empire is my personal favorite. I liked some aspects of the prequels. Like I enjoyed like Darth Maul was just cool as shit, but some of the movies weren't great. Clone Wars was pretty dope. So I'm just kind of in the mindset of I wish they would do more EU stories. But
I'm with you. I mean, I feel like
it's like
I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, of course. You know this.
Of course.
I love the expanded universe stuff, and that's why I have such a hard time with the newer trilogy. I don't hate the newer trilogy. I hate what they did with some of the story in The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi might be the best like film, but the worst story. Like it's absolute dog water story. Okay. I really like Rey. I'm probably one of the few people that like Rey a lot. Partially because I think she, looks a little bit like my wife, but
so a little biased.
Yeah, a little biased, but I like Finn. I like Poe. I think they got like a really good core, and then like they kind of just strayed from the path. You know what I mean? And like honestly, I'm wondering what they're gonna do here because I don't see any way. What was Finn's actor? Why am I blanking? I'm like a little scatterbrained.
Dig it. John Boyega.
No. Yeah, John Boyega. Like he has every right to be upset because like they set him up to be a stormtrooper turned Jedi, and then in The Last Jedi, they like wouldn't even let him die honorably. They had that part of the story was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in any movie, where Rose just out of nowhere in the middle of a open salt field with AT-AT walkers everywhere crashes into him to save him. Okay, and then they're gonna have to run, and they somehow dodge every blaster fire for like a quarter mile. Actually probably like a whole mile. They were pretty out there, and like that whole story was stupid. At least
Correct.
if he like sacrificed himself, he would have died honorably. I mean, he did have an okay part. J.J. Abrams kind of saved him a little bit in the the Rise of Skywalker, but the overall problem, I think, what really derailed them is J.J. Abrams couldn't do all three movies. He set it up for where he wanted it to go, and then dipshit like wouldn't Rand Johnson. He wouldn't follow the path. He kind of went off on his own. Went off the reservation, if you will. And I just J.J. Abrams needed to commit to all three, or what they're doing now, which is kind of letting Dave Filoni and
John Favreau.
Iron Man's John Favreau, kind of letting them be the new George Lucas. Like they needed to like do one or the other. Instead, they let Abrams do his story, and then Johnson do his story, and then Abrams is like, "What the fuck, man? Like, what are we doing?" Like, and then he had to like shoehorn everything in, and I don't know, man. Like, it is a mess. I like it more than most people, but I feel like that's what we talk about every time there's any media.
Yeah, true. I mean, to be fair, it is a lot of mess. Hollywood now. I mean, even like that's the thing was even with Filoni and Favreau, like I don't know if you've been keeping up with the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This season, but I'm at least 3 episodes behind. And I really enjoyed The Mandalorian, at least season 1 and 2. I thought it was pretty good. But this season, I'm not hooked. It's kind of boring. I'm not gonna cap. I was kind of watching the first couple episodes like out of habit. There's like, oh, there's this new Mandalorian, so let me see what they're talking about. Oh, look, Grogu, and this is the way. But I was just kind of watching this and like checking my phone, just kind of like, this is kind of it. And then I kind of just forgot. I realized, oh yeah, new episode today, and just never watched it. And then that happened 2 more weeks. So I'm just like, this is so
big cameo week this week.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people lost their minds over the cameo week with Jack Black and Lizzo. Not and
And Christopher Lloyd.
I mean, if you told me 10 years ago that Jack Black, Christopher Lloyd, and Lizzo would be in a Star Wars project together, I would look at you weird. But
Jack Black makes sense. Jack Black's a huge nerd, and
Jack Black,
like I feel
for sure. But the combination is an interesting one.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm not like a fan of Lizzo by any stretch of the imagination. I couldn't honestly tell you.
You hate women, of course.
Yeah, right. I couldn't tell you a single song. You could say this is Lizzo, and I'd probably say, oh, okay, I've heard that. And I know she gets a lot of crap. Maybe rightfully so, maybe not. I don't know, but I thought she was fine. Like for the role she was in, I didn't really think she needed to be anything more than she was. But what I really appreciated about it was seeing her tweet about how much she loved being part of it and how much like her father brought that into her life. And like those are the things that that make this all worth it, Like I can't hate on well, first of all, I can't hate on anybody for taking a role in anything, get that money.
Yeah, of course.
But like
also Star Wars.
I can't yeah, like exactly. And like this is something that was important to her. So like I mean, I didn't think she wasn't that bad. Like her role didn't need to be anything special. In Jack Black, same thing. He was basically Jack Black, not the end of the world. I am actually kind of enjoying this season. I understand why people might not be because the story is shifted a little bit and it's focusing a lot on Bo-Katan as much as it is Din Djarin. But I love that. All right. Like I actually I think I showed you like last week, I bought the Bo-Katan hot toy figure because like I'm loving her this season. She's great. And she was great in the Clone Wars. I think it was the Clone Wars. She was in Rebels too, maybe. But like she has been like a big part as a character of Star Wars lore. And I think, Katie Sackhoff is doing such a great job as Bo-Katan. And I'm glad they kind of figured out a way to kind of do the whole thing that they did in this episode. And like without it, coming to something else, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I understand why people might not be. It is a little slower and they're establishing new kind of things, but I kind of feel like we were always going to get that because the main threat kind of ended.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and now that we're trying to build up to something new, and then whatever they're building up to, it's definitely taking its time. But there it is leading to a movie, a crossover movie that is going to tie off the storylines from Mando and the Ahsoka series, and it's going to be a movie from, I believe Filoni is doing that movie. So it's going to be the James Mangold for the Dawn of the Jedi, like biblical tale, the first Jedi. That we have, then we're going to have in the, what was it, the New Republic era. That's going to be the Filoni Mando crossover movie. That's going to tie in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, and the Skeleton Crew, which also got revealed. And then we're going to have the New Jedi Order. I saw Bob actually tweet about this, where it's going to be a new Rey movie. It's a sequel to Rise of Skywalker, and where she's rebuilding Jedi Temple, and it's being directed by Charmin. I'm going to butcher her name, but Charmin Chinoy. She's not very well known as a director. I've looked up some of her projects. The project you probably would know her from just as a superhero fan is she directed 2 episodes of Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, episodes 4 and 5. And I mean, those episodes were competently directed from what I remember. So at least she has that going for her, but not once again at Disney reaching for a director that doesn't have a huge amount or any experience working on a huge budget project. So we'll see how it works out for her. But I know Bob was complaining because they pretty much apparently it was supposedly established in the Rise of Skywalker that they were just doing away with the Jedi with the Jedi Order altogether, which is why Rey had to yell lightsaber. But now they're doing a whole movie where she's actually rebuilding the Jedi Order. So, but to me, it's just
here's the thing.
It's like it's Star Wars.
Bet they explain why in the movie.
Or here's the thing: it's Disney, Star Wars. They probably won't, or it'll be a throwaway line, and it won't matter because they're just like, well, we want another Star Wars movie with Rey, so we're going to do one because no one's going to watch the Star Wars movie with Rey if there's no Jedi stuff. so let's do some Jedi stuff. And no one liked Rise of Skywalker anyway, so who cares?
I feel like just people are, I mean, crazy, but people are just nitpicky about every little thing, and it's like a sport, you know? Like it's instead of just enjoying it for what it is, it's how can we literally pick apart every minute detail.
This is one part in particular I wouldn't complain about because again, Rise of Skywalker was dog water. The story made no sense. It was completely botched by the fact that Rian Johnson threw a massive curveball right in the middle of the trilogy. Yeah. A bunch of people didn't like it. So who cares if they're retconning or walking back some of the stuff they established? It sucked anyway. Who cares? They want to build. They want to have a new. They want to have people. I remember people have been asking for this too. They were like, they should just start with it instead of ruining old characters. They're gonna if they don't like the old characters, don't respect the old characters. Build some new ones. Build new Jedi. Look towards the future, and that's exactly what they're doing. So if they, it might still be a bad movie, but at least that's what they're doing. They're moving forward. I thought that's what people wanted. They wanted them to make some new Jedi, and we're getting that now. I guess maybe they don't like that. Some people don't like that Rey is the one leading. is the one leading them.
But that's who's left. Yeah. Like they killed off Kylo,
Ben Solo, and
yeah.
They did my boy Finn dirty. So
I mean, and maybe this is an opportunity to revisit that, revisit that possible Force sensitivity. Of course, there is that kid at the stable with the broom. Yeah, he's going to go find him.
He could be the next Luke right there.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I there's got to be a future, right? And there's 2 options. One, you stick with what you've done because you had that passing of the baton from the old folks to the new folks, or you just go even further into the future and start fresh with an even new group that isn't tied to anybody, and you could just talk about the things that happened in the past being in the past. I don't know what the right answer is. I mean, I guess you could also do both, but yeah, I don't have a problem with this. I feel like that was the whole point. of doing this this last trilogy was to pass the torch,
Yeah.
to set up the future and everything.
Let the past die, Jay.
Yeah, which is fine. The hard part for me is that like I am somebody that literally, read so many of the books, and they had some really amazing stories
Absolutely.
that they still could have done. Like the whole Yuuzhan War, sort of is a little bit of what Luke kind of was in The Last Jedi, because like it ripped him to his core and made him kind of go underground and rethink who he was. But he wasn't like some whiny old hermit. He wasn't Yoda. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's basically what they did. They turned him into Yoda in The Last Jedi, only whinier, and like I just it's so uncharacteristic, and the people that like it, I feel like are just contrarians.
For sure.
Like there are so many stupid plot lines, like what's her face that was in the Jurassic Park movies? Um, she like Admiral Holdo. She ends up like just
Bigot.
flying the ship through. What?
Bigot.
No, it's stupid. She like won't listen, and then like decides, oh, I'm gonna go down with the ship. I'm just gonna fly it in light speed right through them.
A bit of Jay, you hate strong women. That's why. That's why.
I have no problem. I literally have the hot toy figure of Rey from every movie. Like each movie, I have her hot toy figure. I like I don't care. Like I have Princess Leia's figure from A New Hope, where help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Like that outfit. Got that like literally the day I ordered, the day she died, because I was like, I've been wanting it for a while, and it sold out like that day.
Ooh,
and now it's worth a lot.
Oh,
so
Jay Moneybags once again making another smooth investment.
Yeah, Jay Moneybags needs to unload a lot of his investments.
Here's the thing: the holdo maneuver was visually probably one of the coolest scenes in the history of Star Wars. Plot wise, story wise, it was one of the stupidest things ever put instead of.
It really was. But and that's the problem that I have with The Last Jedi, is that like they do so many great things visually, and like it's like well thought out. Like I'm not ever gonna say Rian Johnson is like a terrible director, right? Like he did a good job making the movie. The story he used was awful. It is dumb. There's so many dumb things that he did. The whole master decoder guy, like the whole his whole story arc was awful. Like it made no sense. And I will say one thing that I do get as an argument against Rey. I don't know what the gap is between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, but the gap between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi is like a week. So like I saw somebody today is like, oh great, Rey's back after a week of being a Jedi, and now she's a master and she's gonna start a school. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like they definitely did it weird. Like the one thing that was great about the original trilogy and even the prequels is like there was a timeline that went through, and it made sense because you had different phases of Luke Skywalker, different phases of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all these characters.
You mean there was actual character progression and the heroes had to earn their powers and abilities over the course of years and hard training?
Yeah. But like but suddenly in The Last Jedi, a week in, like Finn and Poe are like apparently gay buddies. Like that everyone's trying to like speak that into existence.
And
like,
Rey is stronger than the new Darth Vader, who's literally been training for years. for years
Exactly.
as a Sith Lord.
Yeah. So I get it. I understand the arguments and complaints, and I'm right there with you. Um, I I don't know. I just with that whole trilogy, I just try to take it for what it is. I understand the complaints, but I don't know. I liked the Last Jedi. I'm just not the Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker though. I felt like it was always predictable that they were going to go with Clone Palpatine to begin with. It's not even an original story. They literally did it in the comics and in the
somehow Palpatine returned.
yeah, like it was part of it. It was a storyline already, you know. So like people are like, oh, I can't believe they did that. Well, yeah, they're basing it loosely off of things that happened, you know.
It's just
So
the problem is that they weren't able to really properly set anything up because like and there's a very valid complaint against J.J. Abrams because J.J. Abrams is famous for setting up plot threads and storylines that never pan out. But at the very least, if he had been able to direct all three movies, there would at least been some narrative consistency. And
it's his fault though. You know, he committed to it and he knew he couldn't do the second movie. Like, you've got to like plan better is just the way I feel.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's been a trend at Disney in general. I mean, one of the reasons why Victoria Alonso is being scapegoated over on the Marvel side of things is because Disney does not plan things well at all. They didn't properly plan Marvel Phase 4, 5, and 6. They didn't properly plan any of their movies, which is why they had so much overlap with the VFX department getting overworked, because they reportedly would come to them with one thing and then come back to them and say, actually do all that over again. We want to do this thing. And they would have to be doing the same thing over and over again. Plus they would get thrown on with other projects. So lack of leadership, I mean, sounds like another company we know. lack of time management, communication. It didn't help, and it's not like J.J. Abrams outings were like masterpieces. Anyway, I mean, The Force Awakens was basically a shot for shot retelling of A New Hope.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some truth to all that, and I don't know. I think the best stuff they've done with Star Wars is the stuff that gets away a little bit more from the original trilogy, where they can kind of like the reason The Mandalorian is so good is because it's familiar. It deals with some aspects of what we know, but it's going into something completely new. You know what I mean? And that's why, and the same thing with Andor, and the same thing with the why can't I think of names? My brain is not working right today.
You have
The
a good excuse.
Felicity Jones movie, Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Like the reason we loved Rogue One is because there's some characters we recognized in it, a few, but like it's such a original storyline that we never really experienced, and it's basically over the course of like 2 days. It's one very specific mission. They set up who the characters are, and like that's why I'm really excited to see like Acolyte and Ahsoka and stuff that kind of digs into other aspects. We're going to start to see live action Star Wars Rebels. We got to see Sabine Wren today. We saw a couple of the characters have popped in and out. Chopper, Hera, and last week we saw somebody, but you haven't watched that yet. So
no, I have not. I gotta catch up. Eventually, this is kind of a pretty big week in anime, so I've been taking my time.
I got you. Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like we're starting to dip into some of the newer stuff, and I love the Mandalorian, not just because of Din Djarin and Grogu. I love it for all the people that kind of come in and out of their story. I loved it when Boba Fett was so heavily involved, because that's one of my top 3 favorite Star Wars characters. And then I love it when we see Cad Bane, and just how cool he translated into this. And it looks like with Ahsoka we're gonna see Grand Admiral Thrawn, who it'll obviously be his cinematic debut. We've seen him in Rebels, obviously, but he was a huge part in the books and the comics, and now we get to see him in live action. I don't know, man. It's
I'm most excited about Ahsoka because of Rosario Dawson, but also I'll watch anything she's in with no questions asked. No questions asked. That's my.
That trailer looked really cool. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, everything I've seen from it, like her appearance, her cameo in Mando was fantastic. Everything I've seen from the show looks great, and as a bonus, it's Rosario Dawson. So
right. There we go. I'm trying to go back. New webcam. New Elgato Facecam Pro 4K webcam.
I thought you were practicing jutsu.
No, I was doing a little force. You will go back into focus.
That's a pretty cool feature. Shout out to Elgato.
Yeah. The one thing that scares me a little bit is I did see the Old Republic on there, and I know you showed something that it doesn't necessarily have anything attached to it other than the video game.
Right.
There's been a lot of rumors that the game is in trouble.
Rumors.
Yeah.
It actually was. That game was actually dead in the water until the Embracer Group stepped in.
Yeah. So, and trust me, Darth Revan is my favorite Star Wars character. Knights of the Old Republic is my favorite game of all time. It hasn't aged well. Like, as a video game, like the mechanics, they're old, they're dated.
For sure.
Understood.
It's no Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah. I will never, as long as I live, forget how I felt when I went into that last battle, oblivious to the fact of who my character was. And I mean, I feel it's like almost a 20-year-old game. Like, I didn't realize that the whole game I was playing as the character that we were searching for the whole time.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah, I did say spoiler, almost 20-year-old game. And that is something that I think is so cool. Like, and that I think is why I love the game so much, is because like I just remember where I was in life at that time and how I went through that story, every little line, every little thing. Like that game at that point in time, to have a fully voiced game for every character you run into and have dialogue with, fully voiced, just an absolute crazy feat in 2006. Like, games weren't doing that then, and it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but it's like over 15 years at this point. So like I adore that game, and that character is so cool. And then you go into the KOTOR 2, and you're kind of still looking for Revan. And then they did the Old Republic, and that's kind of where I think Star Wars started going awry, because they went like far into the future and didn't really finish off the Revan story. And then they did a book about it to kind of cap it off, and I hated it. And I like the author. Drew Carpesian wrote it, and I like a lot of his Star Wars books, but I just hated what they did with it, because they basically put him on ice for like 300 years,
Right.
And like I don't know. So like,
I actually didn't really get into the Old Republic game. I didn't really get into Star Wars games until later on. I remember the one game I played, the closest to my Old Republic, Knights of the Republic, was did you ever play the Phantom Menace game on PC?
No.
I ended up really liking Return. I ended up liking the third, but out of the prequels, I really love the Phantom Menace, despite Jar Jar Binks. I love them all. The music, it was sick. I love Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and there was a PC game that was just a straight up third person semi open world adaptation of the whole Phantom Menace movie, and I remember playing that for hours, and even had a perfect recreation of the final battle with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, and that was instrumental in getting me more into Star Wars on the gaming side. I eventually would get into like Force Unleashed and everything after that, but yeah, I never. But before that, I just kind of like the movie. I just kind of like the movies, but wasn't really invested in the games. So I am looking forward to them kind of expanding more into that, and I do hope you get your KOTOR remake off the ground, because it has obviously it has a lot of potential and means a lot to a lot of people. But
yeah, I just got this at PAX East. It's the Nintendo Switch version of the Force Unleashed remaster, and it's like as a VHS cassette.
Oh my packaging. God, VHS. Yeah. For those younger viewers, a VHS is basically how do you describe a VHS?
It's like a cassette tape, but for
they don't know what a cassette tape is either.
Video. Oh, they know. Like people, believe it or not, they're actually like cassette tapes are kind of making a comeback. Like there are a lot of bands and stuff that are releasing like cassettes. I don't know why.
I've never heard. I know vinyl made a comeback and was a thing. So basically it was basically how we used to watch video, but back before there was streaming, even before DVDs. Instead of putting a disc into a player, you would put a big bulky tape into a player, and you would have to use back in the day, you had to use a machine to rewind it. They had a separate machine where you put
rewind
to rewind it. I remember
they had machines that just rewound.
Literally, that's all it did. It was specifically to rewind the VHS. Like now, you have your remote, you can fast forward, rewind, skip chapters, and everything like that. But back in the day, you had to take your tape out, put it in the rewind machine, rewind it, take it out, and put it back in. So watch it. It was pretty terrible.
Also what I'm working on right now, the prequel to Fallen Order.
Yes, sir.
I read it on my flight to New York City, and I will confess that I have not had a chance to get back into it. But yeah, I'm so hyped for that game. I really am.
You're not an EA creator because you weren't at the. I'm trying. They haven't accepted my application yet. I'm still. I can't
even apply.
I applied. You can apply. I think you should be able to apply. I applied. I applied already. I tried to apply again, but they said my application was still on file, so I would have to do a whole new thing. But yeah,
maybe that's what happened. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know anybody at EA.
I gotta make some connections because I want to get that game for free, just in case.
I would too. I have all the money in my Xbox account to get it, and I will if I have to. I don't care, but I'd like a little bit of early access and run around a little early. But
for sure, we'll see. But if not, we'll make the best of it. I gotta get off my ass and start grinding, since I'm not going to get into the EA program anytime soon. So I gotta do the next best thing and find a PR. But I did find a way to apply for a Dead Island code, so I might be hopping on that.
Nice. What was I about to say?
You're about to say Rey is queen.
Rey is bae.
Rey is bae. Rey is bae.
Yeah. Oh god, what was I gonna say?
I think
I'm just really hyped for the game in general, though. That all the preview stuff that was. I think we might have talked about that a little bit last week, but
we didn't get to talk too much about the hands-on preview. I know I did a video about it that triggered some Star Wars fans because I pointed out I pointed out that I was a little worried that we're so close to the launch of Jedi Survivor and they had this hands-on preview with EA with the EA creators that was super restrictive, and like they instead of like they let them play for they ended up letting them apparently play for 4 hours, but they couldn't capture any footage, and instead they just gave everybody the exact same package of gameplay compilation. So that's what they were pretty much limited to. Plus, they were restricted from what they were allowed to talk about, and I was like,
That's not uncommon though. I mean, and that's what they did at Redfall. Like we didn't get to capture any of our gameplay.
it's to me when a game that like if you're close to launch of a game and we still haven't seen like unedited gameplay, and then you have a hands-on showcase where you don't let anyone capture any gameplay, and you've already delayed once because of bugs and performance issues relatively close to launch, and the first game in your series had a lot of technical problems. That's why I was kind of like,
I don't remember having any technical problems with the first game.
Oh no, Fallen Order. If you look it up, Fallen Order actually had a lot of bugs and performance issues. They got fixed eventually, so that's why people have a fond memory of it. But the game actually did have a lot of problems, especially at launch, and that's why I was a bit concerned about Jedi Survivor, because you had the first game have all these problems, and then we find out that the second game is getting delayed because it's not yet polished, and then I'm looking forward to some hands-on gameplay. Like I thought the Hogwarts Legacy did a great job with their hands-on creator preview that you were a part of. Like I think that's the type of transparency that players are looking forward to.
You mean Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do Hogwarts.
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, but they essentially did the same thing, and I was like, that's how you should. I feel like that's how companies who don't have anything to hide should do it when you're close to launch and you're trying to build up that hype. And I did hear from that there, obviously there were a lot of creators who were just said nothing but positive things, but there were some who were a little more discerning. They were like, actually, there was some frame issues.
Yeah. So here's the thing that I'll say about that, because I've gotten to fortunately be a part of a few of these type of events, and the Redfall event. I don't really know why they didn't let us capture gameplay. I feel like it would have been fine if they did, but I feel like that's probably something that comes from legal and not from the actual PR side. Like I don't think that they're afraid to show. I'm going to speak for the game that I played. I don't think that they're afraid to show Redfall. I think it's just there's like those muckety mucks at the top that like just they're old school people and this is how they do it, and they just don't want that to happen.
I think it's legitimately like they're definitely, it's definitely probably from what coming from leadership, but I think it's literally just a case of they're worried about pre-order numbers getting affected. They don't want, if they're not confident in the product or the reception, they're like, oh well, I don't want these YouTubers uploading anything, and they see some type of problems, and then it starts affecting the numbers and builds narrative. Because I know if someone uploaded their gameplay session of Fallen Order from the EA, and we were seeing frame drops, then the narrative would be, oh here we go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and again, that's very fair, and I wouldn't even dispute that there is some element of that there. Every single preview event I've ever been to, we have been told specifically that if there is some kind of hiccup, not to show it. Like that's part of the agreement in being there. So I think in that regard, we're not always dealing with like, hey, here's the disc, put it in, play. We are usually dealing with builds that were made specific for the event that like prevent you from going to different,
Mm-hmm.
beyond what's approved, and they're not always the final build, and it is understood that there will be some hiccups here and there, and I it's about control, I guess, at that point, and they just don't trust the people enough to like play along
Exactly.
and
Which is
you
what
know
which
it,
is, which is all I was saying, but there were some
yeah.
absolute window licking takes where people think, I don't know who starts spreading this, but apparently there are people who actually think that the reason that there are developers who don't allow gameplay to get captured at certain hands-on previews is because they're trying to prevent spoilers. And I'm like, that's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like that's you can by your own admission, you can, if you're inviting you're inviting a select few to this place, you're even paying for them to go there. You're, as you just said, you're creating the build specifically for the event. You're giving them very clear guidelines for them to follow. And even what we saw with Gotham Knights, you can even say, hey, you're limited specifically to this amount of gameplay footage, even if we're going to do gameplay footage. Like, there's no reason to worry about spoilers if you're in this situation, because you're literally controlling the entire thing. You made the build specifically for the event. You're controlling exactly where in the game they're starting from. You're controlling where they can go. You're watching them the whole time. It's not to prevent spoilers. If they're not if they're not letting you capture gameplay, it's because probably the leadership doesn't want you to see what the build is currently, because they don't want to risk the pre-orders getting messed up.
Yeah, that face I made is Roderick Beasley tweeted at me his original copy of KOTOR, and the book looked like it was like a different case, and I was like, oh wow, what's that?
Nerd.
And I'm like, oh, it's the man. Yeah, exactly.
Nerd.
Oh, I was about to start Googling, what is that cover? I need it. Yeah. So I don't disagree with you whatsoever. I do understand where you're coming from. It's a slippery slope. It's complicated. I've had not even like events. I've had, here's your early access code. Here's the embargo date. You can only post up until this point, and it's for spoiler purposes. Or you can post this video, but you have to cut out these cutscenes because of spoilers.
Yeah, I got
Square Enix.
Yeah, I got the same.
Is really big.
Yeah, I got that from when Square sent me Guardians of the Galaxy early. There were very clear guidelines. This is when you're allowed to post. You can only post in our case, you cannot stream. You can do long form videos of specifically this mission, and we were allowed to do the first mission up until we were allowed to cover up until they were captured. And so from the prologue to when they got captured, you're allowed to do that, and everyone basically did those as the few videos, and those are the very clear guidelines. You cannot show anything outside of that very specific window. You cannot show anything after this specific point. So they'll do that for, you're like, and that's when they're sending you the game. They're sending you a copy of the game early to worry about. Oh, we just got 5 gifted. Woo! Appreciate that. We are feeling the love. I'm feeling up. Appreciate you, Jedi Mind Trick. But but a hands-on event is different than sending someone a copy of the game along with the guidelines, because that's even more of a controlled situation.
Yeah, no, and it's complicated. I obviously, when I went to the Redfall event, I would have loved to have captured my own footage. And again, for me anyway, I know that nothing happened that was, I think, bad for the game. Nothing major anyway.
That you're allowed to say.
No, no, because Johnny and I talked about it. Johnny ran into an issue where he like literally couldn't play the last 20 minutes without like rebooting the whole game and starting over from scratch. So he lost like a decent amount of gameplay because he ran into a bug that they couldn't get him out of. So like, and we've talked about that, like, but that's something that you just kind of expect can happen
right
in those situations. Like when I was at the WWE event, like they told us, even though we were literally capturing footage, they told us if we post any pictures to make sure the game is not in the picture, like in any part of it. Like so like you could see like some of the people were posting pictures with like Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre or the New Day, and like they had to make sure the game was not visible in the background. And there's just little things, and it literally could come down to the legal department just doesn't want to okay it.
Oh, for sure.
And I know I'm not speaking about the Star Wars event. I'm speaking from my own experiences. Like I know I talked to Cammy way in advance of the Redfall event, and she was asking my opinion on like, is it worth it to go to an event where you can't capture footage? And I told her, well, from my perspective, as long as it's interesting and like the experience is fun, then yeah, I don't like, ideally, would I like to have footage of my own to use? Absolutely, of course. But like, it's always going to be dependent on the person and the location. But like, if you just make the event fun, like, yeah, who's going to say no to a free trip to go play a video game?
Of course,
yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be worth it, and obviously, she wanted to do like us be able to record, but something prevented that from happening. So like, I understand there's been so many games that have like created this trauma that we have.
Dying Light 2.
Exactly. So like there have been so many of these games that have created that trauma where it definitely throws up, some clouds on your radar. But I don't think that's going to be it. I honestly don't remember any major issues with Fallen Order. I remember that game so fondly, like going through it.
Yeah, I played it when I played the fixed version, so I didn't get it at launch or anything. So
yeah, I did the whole New Zealand trick, so I was playing it a little early. I love the New Zealand trick on Xbox, and the fact that there are people that don't even know what that is still dumbfounds me. Are you familiar?
One of the few things that is useful about L-Box.
Well, we'll see.
I'll see. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, you can't quite do it on PlayStation. You can create a new PlayStation profile in a different country. You can
kind of do that on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. It's useful for getting region lock codes for PlayStation.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told is a way to get around region lock game codes.
Oh god, that's something we could talk about. How PlayStation is apparently, like, I mean, we don't have to do it right now, but apparently PlayStation is gonna die if Xbox gets Call of Duty.
Yes,
like literally, they're gonna go out of business.
I mean, to be fair, Call of Duty, I'm sure, makes Sony a lot of money.
I'm sure it does.
And they, despite how mid Call of Duty is, it still remains a massively popular game, and people will love it. So I understand from Sony's perspective why they would be worried about it going L-Box exclusive. But also, I don't think that realistically it's going to be L-Box exclusive. They're definitely going to have L-Box exclusive perks. Obviously everything they're saying about keeping it open is complete bullshit, and they will definitely try to exploit that and find ways to incentivize people to move to the Xbox. But
of course, why else?
But they wouldn't just completely cut out the Sony market.
Literally offered him a 10-year deal. Here's what I hope happens, because the deal's going through. We know the deal's going through, and this is like the last ditch effort. And I hope that once the deal goes through, Sony still hasn't signed that 10-year contract, and Xbox is like, well, we tried. Sorry.
I mean, I understand from Xbox perspective. Sony beats them every year with their first party games. Xbox couldn't even get their big games out last year at all. So
it's funny because like when Sony goes out and buys studios, and they are now first party studios like Insomniac, like they made.
I wouldn't use Insomniac as an example. Like Bethesda was a bigger deal because Bethesda was a huge studio that made a lot of games for multiple platforms. Insomniac, in particular, was a very good studio, very well respected. They did Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet. They did all these great games, and Xbox had the opportunity to buy Insomniac, and they said, "Nah, not worth it." So
I don't think our Lord and Savior Phil is there quite yet.
Yeah. So Sony, because Xbox said, Insomniac, who needs Insomniac? We're fine. We have Halo. So they instead let Sony pick up Insomniac, and Sony said, "Hey, all right, you make games for us now. Also, we'll take that Marvel license. Go make a Spider-Man game, and the rest is history." So I would hold up that example.
but like realistically though, like it's okay for them to do that, but like it's foul if Xbox does it. You know what I mean? Like, because there's plenty of studios that they've bought that have made other, and there's some that they won't buy, like Square Enix, that they like pay to not allow games to be on Xbox. They pay companies to not put games on Game Pass. Like, let's not pretend that like they're not out here wasting their money, scared of Xbox ever coming back. Because let's be real, Xbox 360 won that generation. And then they had that like all of a sudden the audio came back and it distracted me. And then when they had that big reveal, though everything shifted when they had that awful press conference at that one E3 where they were unveiling the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and the rumors were out there that it was going to be always online for both of them. And Xbox happened to go first, and they went with it. And then Sony saw the response and had time to say, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. That's where everything shifted. But Xbox 360, like, it won that generation. It wasn't until the other consoles came out that PS3 even caught up in sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was pretty even. But the PS3 was made really weird.
PS4,
where, like,
PS4 indisputably won, but Xbox.
I'm not saying PS4. I'm saying PS3.
But yeah, I do remember actually having Xbox 360. So I can actually. That's the last time I had an Xbox system.
And that's also when Call of Duty shifted from being primary on Xbox to primary on PlayStation, and that's where it all changed. No, I'm definitely not wrong. They dominated the sales for most of the entire generation of 360 and PS3, and then PS3 had this weird memory thing where most of the games did not work as well on PS3 as they did on 360. They fixed that on PS4, but I don't know. It's like what Call of Duty definitely shifted things
for sure.
And I understand why they're concerned, but like to say that there's no possible way that like they'll survive, like, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're definitely, especially with the,
that is hyperbole.
Especially what Xbox has on the horizon. I mean, what are we even talking about here? Their Xbox is going to kill Sony with the new Fable game that's coming out in 30 years. like come on.
Well, I mean, Starfield, there's Redfall is not going to be. I don't think Redfall is like.
I don't think anyone's really worried about Starfield. Give it a buck.
I don't know, man. Starfield is looking pretty dope. Listen, if I sat here and said that Fallout 5,
it looks like a boring No Man's Sky. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like it's gonna be Fallout and No Man's Sky.
It could be really good. I think it's gonna have a lot of technical problems, but it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up, because they're going to release around the same time as a PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man 2. So that's going to be.
I mean, people on Xbox aren't going to be playing that anyway. You know, unless they have both.
They could.
I mean, I will be, but
yeah, because but all the people who aren't money bags will have to choose.
Money bags.
Have to choose. Actually, you can actually get it. The barrier to entry for Xbox is actually pretty low. Like, isn't the Series S like 300?
Series S, I think you can get that for like $225 now.
$225 now? Is it even worth? Yeah. Is it even worth getting that?
It's not that much far off from the Series X, but it's digital only, so you're absolutely gonna have to get one of those little, drives, that are still one big L for Xbox. We'll absolutely say it, is the fact that we're now as far in as we are. And those little PCI whatever cards, memory expansion cards, are still like a 2 terabyte one is still $400.
Jesus Christ!
Because of that Seagate exclusivity deal. I've been wanting to get a 2 terabyte, but I'm not paying that much money. They just released a new one, and through WD Black, I think, and it's like $40. The 1 terabyte is $40 less than the Seagate, but we're still talking about $179 for a 1 terabyte expansion slot.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you can get a 2 terabyte for like probably $20 less than that for PS5. Of course, you have to do surgery on it, but which I hated doing. But anyway,
yeah, that they gotta sort that out. I mean, because I'm hearing about a PlayStation handheld. We need an efficient way to get extra storage.
That PlayStation handheld sounds kind of iffy.
See, the thing is, it's cool that PlayStation is trying to expand their tech apparently, but it's not working so far. Like the VR2 so far,
the $9,000 VR2
flopped massively because unsurprisingly, people weren't thrilled to run out and get a VR device that costs like $10,000 that requires you to have a PS5 to use.
It's like twice the price of a PS5, right?
It's pretty. I think it's like 500 and change, which is more expensive than.
Yeah, I think it was more than that. Yeah.
It's pretty.
I think my thing with that is they also, like, for no reason whatsoever, decided to make all the PSVR 1 games like not compatible with the PSVR 2. Yeah. So like there's no backwards compatibility. It like makes no sense.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So, and I still just don't know, like, I have not enjoyed VR. I've wanted to. Like I wanted to play that Iron Man game. I wanted to play that Vader Unleashed game. I did play through the Batman VR game. I borrowed my friends, and I played that. You can literally finish the game in a half hour.
I was trying to find a decent price selling point. So for the VR. So all right. So on Sony's website, the VR, just the standalone VR, is $549.
Yeah.
If you get the Horizon Call, the Mountain Bundle, it's $599. The Walmart has a bundle with that's $749. So you're spending some money.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see why it sells a rebate. VR, yeah, to me VR is interesting. I tried to get in with the Oculus Go, just to get my feet wet, and it was absolute dog shit. So I just put me off from VR because I'm like, well, I'm not about to drop $400 on another Oculus product. So but I saw the potential in it because I'm like, oh, if this actually visually didn't look like complete dog shit, I would actually be really impressed by this. but it looked awful. So I was like, but there's definitely future in VR. That's definitely where things are going to be trending. I think it's definitely we're going to see a future where, it's going to be VR mixed with AI generation. So you're gonna be able to generate your own movies and shows and even games. I think at some point movies probably more closer along in VR, and it's going to be a really interesting experience. But for now, it just is a huge entry point and doesn't seem worth it, especially if you need a PS5.
Yeah, the problem that I had with the PSVR 2 is that like I kept fogging up the lenses and there was nothing I could do to keep them from fogging. Like, so I would just be playing, like, because it's obviously hot under there,
Playing
and yeah, and like
on
it would
Pornhub.
it would just be all fogged up, and I'm like, I can't like see anything. So I was constantly having to like wipe it down, and it was just like annoying.
There's
And I don't
just jizz everywhere. It's crazy.
I actually have a friend that works for Oculus, and I still have no interest. Like I just it's VR in general. It's not just PSVR. I feel like this would be the same case no matter which VR we use.
You got it. Well, if you're not interested, can you tell your guy at Oculus to send me an Oculus too?
It's my old roommate actually. It's funny. He lived with me in Florida. Well, we went to college together, and then when I moved to Florida, him and another friend moved down with us, and it kind of was like, it's weird. It's one of those like weird moments in life where he happened to drive. He wasn't gonna move to Florida. He drove down with my friend Dave, and when he got there, he's like, "Oh, this is a good setup. Maybe I'll come down too." So then he comes down, ends up meeting his wife, and
Wow.
ends up going to Full Sail, deciding, "Oh well." When we came back to Massachusetts, my friend Dave decided to stay, and Jake had met who became his wife, and was like, "Well, I'm going to move down with her in Orlando." And then he started going to Full Sail, and now he's worked for a bunch of different studios because of his time at Full Sail. So it's kind of funny how like I like indirectly helped him get to that phase of his life. You know what I mean?
You actually you can even argue that you created his career because you're.
I mean, yeah, like indirectly,
As Jay
like
Shockless.
it's just one of those life moments where it's like if you weren't there, this wouldn't have happened, you know?
Very true.
And like if I didn't move to Florida and I didn't like talk to my friend Dave and say, "Hey, you want to come down?" and he didn't happen to drive down with him, who knows where his life would be, you know? It's just kind of crazy to think.
I'm actually not sure if they do make VR porn games yet. I know. I think you have to actually just.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
There might be. I know they make adult content specifically catered towards VR, but I don't know if they have a specific game for it. I mean, it's probably a small indie thing.
I saw something very interesting with VR, and like these are the things that I think have the potential to be cool. I think there's something with the NBA where like you can pay for a game, and like say like the Celtics are playing the Knicks, right? And it basically seats you like on the bench, and you're watching the game through the VR as if you're on the bench.
Yeah.
Like there's like a special camera there or something. And so when you're like turning around and looking, it's like you're literally there while the live game is happening.
Yeah,
And
that's the cool. That's going to be a really feature, because when I was playing around with VR, like I was watching a YouTube concert that was a VR, and I was positioned like right at the stage, and I was like, oh, if this visually didn't look like shit, this this would be an amazing experience. So imagine if it's like, we're talking the high, 4K quality, and indistinguishable, that looks really really crisp and realistic, and you're just sitting on the bench and just looking at the game like that. Yeah, that would be an amazing way to watch it. Way cooler than just watching it on your phone or your or your TV. For
As
sure.
long as it looked good, but I don't know how that would play out. You know what I mean?
The technology is still needs some time to cook. It needs to get better. I think it needs to get better, and obviously better price. But eventually, it's going to get there, and all your porn habits will change forever. So I want we didn't get to talk about this because this broke like a few days after our last podcast, but I made a video about it on the YouTube, and the madman himself, Jeff Grubb, gave us a apparent breakdown of exactly how the landscape is going to look like when in the absence of E3, which of course is dead. He gave us a little roadmap. Apparently June 8th is the PlayStation Showcase.
Roadmap?
Summer Game Fest is June 9th and 10th. Then we have the Xbox Bethesda Starfield Direct Showcase on the 11th, and then Ubisoft Forward 12th. And of course, mostly everyone cares about that PlayStation Showcase because we're waiting to see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 finally, and actually a follow-up to the teaser from the first showcase back in 2021. Everyone is looking forward to that one. I probably am not reaching when I say that is going to be the most viewed event out of all of those, especially the portion where Spider-Man 2 finally gets revealed. But this looks like it's going to be, instead of E3, this is what we're looking at. I know you had a lot of personal feelings about E3 getting canceled, and this is looking like going to be the replacement, at least for this summer, because you were looking forward to going. What do you think about this lineup in lieu of E3?
Are those just streaming events, or are those like people are gonna go there and be able to do thing events?
I know I'm pretty sure Summer Game Fest is a in-person thing, but I think it's more like an award show.
Yeah.
Everything else I think is going to be like streaming. Everything's going to be streamed, but I think like the PlayStation Showcase, the last time we had it was purely a streaming event. Everything was prepared beforehand. Everything was pre-recorded.
So here's the thing. Like, obviously you can do that. That's the way most people consumed E3 anyway.
Right.
But it doesn't actually replace the experience. The experience of E3 is having all these companies under one roof and having the press and the content creators and the media all under one roof with access to all these people, to all these games, to all these things that they wouldn't have necessarily had access to. And the great thing about E3 is they would take literally anybody as long as you could prove who you are. Like, any of us, anybody that's on any of Doomkilla's panels could probably apply for E3 and get approved. Like, anybody. And it's just a matter of proving who you are, proving that you belong there. And they like literally would accept you. Obviously, you have to get yourself to the event and all that.
Of course.
And that can't be replaced. And I understand not everybody has the ability and the opportunity to do that, which is me. That's why I've only been to one, and the only one I went to, I got reimbursed for everything. You know what I mean? So like, if it weren't for that, I might not have ever gone to an E3, because you know what I mean. It's expensive to fly to LA. It's expensive to get a hotel for a couple days.
Yeah, and and it's also a lot more dangerous to go to LA than it was before.
Yeah.
Than it was before.
I didn't have any issues. I mean, I basically I literally found out about it like 3 days before, had to book everything and just go. And I just kind of took whatever was available, and the hotel I was in was meh. I mean, I walked to the 7-Eleven at the end of the street and got some drinks, but otherwise I was at the event, so I don't know.
That seems a little sketchy for my taste.
Well, it worked out. I mean, I've been to LA a few times, but I haven't booked any of the hotels. The only time was I went to Anaheim. We booked it and we stayed in Anaheim, and we could literally see Disney World or Disneyland from the hotel. So it was obviously in a decent spot. So, but like all the other LA times, it was like Mortal Kombat. You know, we talked about the time that we stayed across from Vivid.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were in decent places, and I didn't have a huge need to leave the hotel. The Mortal Kombat event, I did leave the hotel, but I went down to like the Walk of Fame, in that area. So it was again, touristy, pretty safe.
Relatively
At the
safe. Yeah.
hotel,
Yeah.
at the hotel, I literally went across the street because it was a Carl's Jr. That was like right there to eat something to eat late at night. Because I don't use like Grubhub or any of those things. I'm not from like, yeah.
For me, going from the East Coast to LA would be not only would be a long trip, but it'd be super sketchy. Like if a company wanted to pay for the whole thing, like pay for the flight, pay to get me into a high quality hotel, hopefully, ideally pay for some security, depending on where we are.
Wow.
Like especially,
I've always been put up at safe hotels. Yeah, like no matter where we've gone, they've always been really good.
Definitely don't want to go to LA is one thing, but definitely don't want to go to San Francisco for sure. But
it's funny because my wife's cousin got married in Vegas a few years ago, and we flew out to San Francisco, and the hotel we stayed at was it was not my favorite hotel we've ever stayed at, but did not have a very bad experience in San Francisco. We then drove from San Francisco down the Pacific Coast Highway, like basically hugging the coast, to LA, and then drove from LA to Las Vegas. Like that was like an amazing trip. I loved that trip so much.
How many years ago was this?
2019.
2019.
Is it 18 or 19 in the summer?
Yeah, unfortunately, things have changed.
Yeah,
since 2019, something happened. In fact, something happened the year after 2019.
Well, yeah, I mean, COVID, obviously, but
that changed a lot of things.
It was so cool. Like, I would not do that drive down US 1 again, though. I will tell you that it is like bare knuckle driving. Like there are some parts where it's a one lane, and like you go over the rail, you are done.
Oh, that sounds hella sketchy. No, thank you.
Yeah. So and here's the sketchiest part. Big Sur is like a big tourist name. Like it's something that's well known for like the surfer crowd and the camping crowd. It's like a big tourist area.
It's a was a pretty big download on my computer too.
Oh yeah, because that was one of the Apple. I remember that. But like on US 1, there's a stretch of like 100 miles where there's only one gas station, and it's in Big Sur. And mind you, this is pre-COVID. Gas prices weren't that terrible at this point nationwide. It was $6.49 a gallon. They gouged the fuck out of you. Okay? You know those like 99-cent, or they used to be like 25-cent little grab bags of like Doritos.
Yeah.
All right. $5.
Jesus Christ.
Like a bottle of water, $5.
What is this?
Like we're talking
those are New York prices.
Disney World pricing because they knew they could do it.
That's New York pricing. Standard New York pricing.
because they were the only place, because like you had to go over a mountain. Like there was like basically this big mountain range along the way that prevented you. You had to go like 50 miles one way or 50 miles the other way and then cut through. There was nothing else.
Capitalism.
And they knew it.
Capitalism at its finest. Yeah.
I think they also claimed that it's like, well, not only is it that for you, it's that for us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like they have to make that trip in just the same. So, and it's hard for them. So I don't know, man. Like
they pay your premium. Now,
but that trip, we were actually just talking about at dinner because that was right when I signed with Studio 71, and they're on Wilshire Boulevard in Hollywood. And we actually visited the office. And this is like one of the few times I ever felt like a rock star because like
One of the few.
they're yes.
One of the
Like
few, Jay. Really?
when we went into the office, okay, like everybody knew that I was there, and they had like their big conference room set up with like a welcome Jay Shock Glass on the big TV, and like the owners of the company were there to greet me, and they brought us to like some Korean barbecue place. The first floor of the building the office was in was a Maserati dealership. So
Did they
it
all,
was surreal.
did they also have Korean women feeding you food?
No, well, I mean, at this place you cook your own. It had one of those little like grills in front of you.
That
So
sounds like they really rolled out the red carpet.
it really they really did. The I think like they paid for the meal. The meal for the three of us was like $150. It was insane. Yeah. So like yeah, they had like this little grab bag for me. I still use my
It was 150 for three.
yeah.
That's kind. I mean, that's to me. That's kind of cheap.
I don't know. I think that's expensive.
For three people at a nice restaurant.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we got a lot of food for three people
at a nice restaurant. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, if it's not a lot of food, that's yeah. You might have got.
And we had to cook it ourselves.
Yeah, it sounds like you got. It sounds like you got finesse there. But I'm like, did you get a lot of food out of it? Because 150 at a nice restaurant. It depends. Like you can get a lot of food.
I think it was all you can eat, or but I just didn't. I didn't feel like we. I didn't feel like we were gonna like go that route.
Oh, so it was all you could eat. Like who cares? Like
yeah, I don't know. I however much it was, it felt like it was way like I would never pay that to go to a restaurant. I'll just go to some like corner Chinese restaurant and be just as happy.
But it's three people and it's all you can eat in Korean barbecue. I mean, you're cooking it yourself is kind of a scam. I'm not gonna, it's cool. It's actually fun. I like it watching it in anime.
It's an experience
when they have it's a nice little thing. You have the characters come and they bring all the food to you. You're frying it up and yeah. But me personally, if I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going there because I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
So very specifically. Yeah. so they brought me somewhere and it's like, yeah, here's a plate of raw meat. Have fun. I'm like, I'm gonna need you to cook this for me.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool because my rep, I kind of impressed him with my cooking abilities because I cooked it pretty good.
Oh, you didn't burn it? You didn't burn it?
No, I listen. I am the cook of the. I've already established that I'm the housewife of our family.
Correct.
I do all the cooking and I do all the grilling, so I'm pretty good.
That's actually a very good skill to have, especially in the post-apocalyptic world that we're heading towards, where you're going to have to hunt your own food as well. So definitely, if you don't know how to cook your own meal or skin a wild animal, I would definitely start practicing right now. get in the hang, get into the habit. it might be something you'll need eventually. Now, now looking at this showcase, I think we can all agree June 8th is going to be the one to beat. But I know Jay is going to be interested in the Bethesda Starfield Direct showcase.
I'm interested in all of them,
But yeah, me personally, I don't care about the Starfield Direct because I don't have an Xbox. Ubisoft Forward, I'm interested because I made a bold prediction in a video that is doing very well on my channel. Appreciate everyone who watched that. But I'm predicting that Ubisoft is going to reveal a Marvel game that they've been secretly working on, and I believe it is a Daredevil game. Now, I know you have your contacts and connections, so I want to gauge what you think, Jay, of the odds of Ubisoft revealing a Marvel game, because I think based on the clues, they're definitely been working on one, and I think we're going to receive that Ubisoft Forward.
I'm in the Ubisoft Creator Program, but like it's not the same as anything else.
Yeah.
There's like very little contact with anybody. Like I don't hear anything until like it's game time, So I don't know exactly what's going on there. And I haven't heard anything, so it could happen. I don't know. I don't know why I am the way that I am, but like to me,
We
I
all
can't.
want to know that.
I can't suspend my disbelief enough on a Daredevil game, like not just always being in sonar, you know? Like
So,
he's blind. They're like
someone did bring
I
up
don't
the Assassin's Creed old
Eagle
had
Vision.
an old mechanic for that would work with a Daredevil.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, we got I love that song. It's not my particular alert, but it's still catchy. But appreciate the gift these.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of it. You know what I mean? I really key 3 days of play. What is that? Can we do we talk yet about how I'm a little annoyed at Jeff Keighley and his attitude lately?
Oh, I think we briefly touched on during your E3 rant about how you're not a fan of how Jeff's been carrying himself lately.
Yeah.
But I love hearing you complain about people. So please continue.
No, I just think it's cheesy. I feel like everybody's making him out to be some kind of a hero, but he just made a selfish like power grab. Like let's call it what it is. He didn't like do anybody any favors. Like great, you created a streaming show. Good for you. That's cool. Understood. You know what I mean? But like dancing on their grave? Like didn't they like make him? Like wasn't he like the host of E3?
Pretty much.
And so like so what? You wanted it for yourself. You didn't do anything for the event itself. Like great, you're streaming a show. That's awesome.
Good job.
Congratulations.
And
you know, like
and, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I can definitely see why you'd be annoyed. Yeah, that he's kind of dancing on the grave of the thing that kind of made him. But you know, he's a little excited.
And I'm not saying that you can't be excited, but like it just seems like classless.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh, it's definitely classless for sure. But he's excited. He's got his own event popping off. You know, he wants to flex a little bit. Yeah, it is what it is. But it's harmless. I mean, it's not like is it
harmless though?
It's not like it's going to. I mean, E3 is already dead, so like it doesn't matter. But E3, but his thing might not work. Might not last either because, I mean, this is the reality we live in. Like we're all looking forward to these showcases, but we're looking forward to watching them from the comfort of our own homes and devices. That's just the reality of it. You know, I'm gonna be streaming. Definitely, obviously the PlayStation Showcase because Spider-Man. Maybe Summer Game Fest because I did stream that before. I'm usually an official ambassador streamer, which doesn't mean anything. And I'm probably going to stream Ubisoft Forward because I made that video about my prediction for the Daredevil game. And I want to see if I'm right, because if I am, holy, that's going to be amazing. You will have to worship me as an actual god if I do. pull this off. But it's still fun. I'm still curious to see what Ubisoft is cooking up this year.
Well, I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, so like, of course, I'm intrigued, and
I want to see Mirage.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, well, they've got a bunch of them that they've already kind of announced. So
yeah, and we'll also see if Skull and Bones is a thing.
Yeah,
because I may or may not know something about Skull and Bones, which I can't say any specifics about, but I had,
Now who's the flexer?
but I did have a certain. I may or may not have had a certain contact about a certain something related to Skull and Bones. So I'll be curious to see if I mean, you flex all the time, so I had to get my little flex in. Yeah. But I'll be curious to see if they're ready to show anything about Skull and Bones at the event. I would hope so. This was been like 10 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think literally it's been in development for like over the past 10 years. So ideally, they could give fans an update on the Skull and Bones experience, because I know a lot of people are still looking forward to it, in addition to the Assassin's Creed game. But I want to see that Marvel game. I want to, if I see the Marvel logo, I consider that a win. Even if it's not a Daredevil game, I got, that means I got half of it right. Because I'm pretty confident. Obviously, it could just not happen, because I know Ubisoft had some financial issues. They had some layoffs. They canceled some projects, but I'm confident in the Marvel thing. I think that's happening. For those who don't know, Skull and Bones is supposed to be a multiplayer live service open world pirate game. You basically create your own pirate and you explore the high seas. You can fight. You can form your own crew, fight against other players online, or just have a PvE experience where you're doing quests and exploring the ocean and looking for treasure. Just pirate shit.
As far as like the question in chat about Valhalla, I loved Valhalla. That was one of the games I got to play early through an Ubisoft like event.
Now who's flexing?
Yeah, we got to. It was an online one we got to do through like I don't remember the name of the program, but one of those like where you stream it from one of their systems kind of things. I love Valhalla. I love Origins. I love Odyssey. Assassin's Creed 2 is one of my favorite games ever. So yeah, I'm very excited for Mirage. I'm excited for whatever they're doing in Japan, and the China one, and like it's interesting to see where they go with it. Hopefully they ditch modern day altogether, because nobody liked that part anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah, modern day sucks.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So
we don't.
Desmond.
We don't like living here either, so we don't want to play it in the game. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. I listen. I was so excited because I was going to go to E3. I think I started looking into some other events. Like people are starting to ask about, oh, you're going to go to VidCon? Are you going to go to TwitchCon? I guess TwitchCon's in Las Vegas this year. I think Fate Walker was asking me about something that used to be Guardian Con in Orlando, and I looked into it, and it's like a week after we get back from our cruise. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull that off. So yeah.
you might be able to make it work.
No, especially with Thor right now, like I'm kind of nervous even to do the cruise, because like it's not just us, it's like my mom,
True.
it's my brother, it's her parents. So like we don't even know who's gonna watch Thor while we're gone. Plus he's having his his issues. Hopefully that is all settled by then, but
Absolutely,
I don't know.
I'm confident it will be. If you want to support Jay, go pick yourself up a Thor plushie right now. It's adorable.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get there, man. Nothing like fucks with your head more than like than trying to convince like 200 people to buy a plushie.
Well,
Like,
you know what you gotta do, Jay? You gotta make a YouTube short.
I guess so.
That's how
but like
that's how people sell things
used
now.
to post. Yeah, I guess so. I just I don't know, man. Like it's messing with me. It's really is. Like I understand $29.99 for a plushie is a lot. I understand that not everybody is a fan of plushies. I get all that, but like I mean,
Look at
look at
that.
this guy.
Look at that.
Look at this guy. So it's really just a matter of I I'm I just looked. It looks like we're like at 39 out of 200. Um and
That's
I'm like willing to buy 20. So like that puts us almost at 60. So I just don't know how we get the last part. And
tell you. Work that YouTube Shorts magic, and we'll definitely be promoting it on the show as well. It's definitely worth a buy. Support the homie Thor, and support the homie Jay Shockblast. Help him out. Show him some love.
you know what the worst part is though? Like I told them that like because I get a cut of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, can I like not get a cut of it and you can just keep the price down? Like I don't even care about making money, which is why I'm gonna buy like 20 of them. Because basically what anything I make is gonna go right back into getting them. And that way I'll just have some. Like my mom bought 4 of those, and honestly, that's all I care about is that she gets one. You know? I'm gonna have to give her this one if they don't get made, because that's the only one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, we started this on. I started a separate channel because I wanted a specific branded channel for the After Show podcast instead of having it on my main YouTube channel. I felt like I was having too much. I felt like it was a little too much on my main channel, and I wanted to focus the direction of the channel and the topics that we cover, and just have a full branded channel dedicated entirely to the After Show podcast, which I think will work out in the long run. I like it being nice and clean, and I can post whatever and not have to worry about it.
And we do have it is on Spotify, it is on Apple Music.
Yep.
Or Apple Podcasts. We are a couple episodes behind. That's 100% on me. I actually have them made. I just haven't uploaded them. So it's really a matter of just filling it all out. So
Yep.
I got to do that.
Yeah,
That's on me.
Yeah. So everyone waiting, those audios will be up as well. So in the meantime, you can watch the VODs on YouTube. We have the main channel. I wanted to get into this report about this mysterious Fantastic Four movie, because this is an interesting rumor. Insider, very very well known insider, Jeff Snyder said on the Hot Mic podcast that the Fantastic Four movie is going to be very 1960s, but will have a cosmic theme and will bring in Fantastic Four villains, Silver Surfer and Galactus. And I immediately thought of the last Fantastic Four. Well, not the one before the last Fantastic Four. The Fan Four stick was awful, but Rise of the Silver Surfer tried to essentially do this, and I'm wondering, is this the wave? Like, there's a lot we don't know because this is all tied up into the MCU, but this is so who knows what the phase will be looking like with Kang and everything. But would you want them to lead off with a Galactus and Silver Surfer story for the introduction of the Fantastic Four?
No, not at all.
That's
I feel like you got to start with Doom, Like, I mean, I guess maybe you don't have to start with Doom, but it really just makes sense because they're all kind of in it together, and Doom can be like a small part of it. He doesn't necessarily have to be, like the big bad, but like it's kind of like what they did with Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. You kind of see that he is the threat, but he's not really the main threat.
yeah.
I would rather, if they need to do something cosmic, I'd rather them go do like Annihilus. We already dealt with the quantum realm a little bit. So I mean, I don't, or even if you go with like Mole Man, I mean, I know Mole Man isn't like super interesting, but like there's a lot of other things that they are the Fantastic Four does that they can do while having Doom kind of loom over them, but like not. I don't think we need to go to like Silver Surfer and like that's a major threat, like a galactic level threat,
I don't even say mind Silver Surfer as much. Obviously, the rise of Silver Surfer left a bad taste, but that definitely feels like something that you want to set up more, like tease the threat of Galactus, because
Yeah.
Galactus is a bigger than Thanos level threat. so
In ways, yeah.
in a lot of,
I mean, Thor killed him in the comics, so I mean, it can't be that bad.
yeah. I mean, Marvel comics are weird. Like you have comics where Galactus is a multiversal being and everything like that, and then you have Thanos helicopter. So Marvel comics are weird, but
well, I mean, to be fair, in this instance, Thor was a herald of Galactus, so not only did he have like the Odin force, but he also had the power cosmic, and yeah,
a lot of bumps, but in general, like Thanos obviously became a massive threat when he got all the Infinity Stones, but Galactus is a person who is a being that literally eats planets, so a different scale of threat for the MCU. And so I feel like that's something you want to build up and have that be like potentially the next major thing coming to MCU after Kang the Conqueror is out of there. So I don't mind them teasing or bringing in Galactus, but I don't know if we should lead off with Rise of the Silver Surfer Part 2, the reboot.
Do you think that they're going to pretend we don't know who the Fantastic Four are and put us through the whole origin for a third time?
Actually, I don't. Based on what this sounds like, it's gonna. Well, if it's 60s, then I think from what I heard, they're supposed to kind of already be established, and they're gonna have them, which will be interesting to see how they tie in the MCU if they've been established since the 60s. But I'm sure
we'll probably go into the negative zone and have to break out.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll get some backstory on them for people who aren't familiar, because I mean we've had a number of Fantastic Four movies, so I feel like a lot of even casual people know about them. Unfortunately, they don't have the best impression of them based on the movies, and they haven't been in the MCU yet. But I feel like a lot of Marvel fans generally understand the gist of the Fantastic Four. The guy who stretched, his wife who's invisible, the guy who turns into fire, and the guy who's rocks. People get the general gist of who the Fantastic Four are. We don't need to go like fan-forstic with the full origin story where they're super young and everything, and everything like that. We definitely don't need that. So I definitely would welcome a story where they're kind of just in the midst of it. They're already established. They're older. I definitely want that, and that sounds like where they're going. But
I don't like the idea of it being in the 60s, though.
Yeah, the whole 60s thing. We'll see. We'll see about. I mean, it'll make sense if they make Johnny Black again, because then they can also tie in the civil rights storyline for Twitter to the Fantastic Four movie.
I see where you're going with that now. I was like, yeah.
We'll see. Somebody at Disney thought of it. You 100% know. So
I don't know. Some days I don't know if Disney's the good guy or the bad guy when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, they're definitely the bad guy, 400%. This is pure. This is the same company that removed Finn and Black Panther from the posters for their overseas releases. We know full well that they're bad guys, but they have employees who work there who are super into this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, Disney is about their bottom line, and whatever makes them whatever they think will make them money, they will do that. And that's why we're seeing a lot of shifting going on around, because they're not making money. In fact, they're losing quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
So they will test how much commitment they have to all these causes. It's easy to be an ally when your movies are making $1 billion. When you're losing money, then that tests how much your corporation is committed to it. And I'm calling bullshit on it, but we'll see how it is. I'm still looking forward to the movie. I'm sure the casting is what people are mainly looking forward to, which should get revealed this year. But I just hope it's an actual good movie, because I think Fantastic Four fans are overdue. So a Fantastic Four movie with an older cast, seriously good movie. My expectations aren't super high, because the director, but we'll see how it works out. But apparently Superman Legacy is definitely not going older. We have this latest rumor from the same source, that the Snyder podcast, that apparently James Gunn's Superman Legacy, they are in fact going younger, or they're looking for an actor in their age range of 22 and 26. And we're expecting Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen to pop up, and the main villain will be Lex Luthor. So which sounds like a pretty standard Superman origin story. It's not unsimilar, dissimilar to my pitch for the perfect Superman game, where I kind of take the open world Superman concept and I kind of partially adapt Smallville, where we have a younger Superman growing and developing into his powers, and then we go into Metropolis, where he eventually clashes with Lex. Classic story, Superman and Lex. You want to have that dynamic for sure going forward. So one of the biggest ones in comics, but pretty young for Supes. What do you think about that, Mr. Shockwest?
I have confidence. I think the biggest thing is everybody just wants to know everything now. And because they don't have that information, it's a microcosm of just culture right now in general. Everybody thinks that they should have every little detail now. They need to know everything now. They need the movie now. They need everything now. I just feel like if people could just back up a little bit and just let it all play out, I think we're going to be fine. Like I know we all wanted Henry Cavill as Superman. I'm right there with you. But I mean, this is an interesting way to kind of get Superman going again.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, even Man of Steel, like, it was okay.
It wasn't the best,
but like,
it was by no means.
It didn't.
Yeah, I think, because I didn't think Snyder was the person that should have made a Superman movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think Snyder would have made a great Batman movie. I don't think he was the right vision for a Superman movie, and I hope James Gunn can bring that. I'm rooting for it. Like, personally, if you're actually going a young Superman route, which we've heard conflicting things on, but apparently that's what it actually is, where it's actually going. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. If you're going to replace Henry Cavill, because then that actually makes sense. Okay, you're starting a new chapter of DC. You're rebooting a bunch of stuff. So okay, we're gonna go young Superman. I mean, kind of conflicts with the having a young Superman and older Batman, but we'll see. But that's the story they want to tell. But if they're going to go with young Superman, it makes sense to have not have Henry Cavill play the role in Legacy, because Henry Cavill, I mean, he can play 30, he cannot play 22. So that makes sense in that regards. I just hope it's good. Like, James Gunn, people have their issues with James Gunn, and I'm rooting for this movie to do well. Obviously, I would hope that it's not. I don't want him to Drax Superman,
Yeah.
That's
I
my
don't think you will
that's
though.
my worst case scenario. Like people talk about, the jokey and stuff like that. I don't. A Superman movie is not supposed to be necessarily dark and gloomy. I think that's where the problem with Snyder came in. Everyone, because they were thought, oh well, and this probably came from more so the Christopher Nolan influence. You can tell right where their heads at. They're like, well, Christopher Nolan just made made all this money, had all this success with his Batman trilogy, and was it's a dark and serious and the exact opposite of the Schumacher Batman movie. So let's try that with Superman. And it's like, well, no, that works for Batman because that's Batman. Batman is a inherently darker character. That whole thing works. Superman is a much more optimistic character, much more optimistic story. So the whole dark postmodern deconstruction thing doesn't really fly with Superman, and that's why while people like Man of Steel, wasn't it wasn't the best. Didn't do as well as you would hope. People mainly just loved Henry Cavill in the role because it was perfect casting, but the material itself definitely not, especially for Superman purists who hated the fact that in Superman's very first movie he's committing murder. So, not the best start.
I'm not like a big Superman fan. I would say I am a bit of a purist when it comes to comics in general. So like, yeah, like I mean that's what we saw in Batfleck where he's murdering people. Like,
so much murder.
yeah. So I I'm actually I'm kind of looking forward to this whole reboot. Like DC just like went astray, and now it's just a chance to kind of dial it back and start over and get that fresh start.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but that Blue Beetle trailer looks really good.
We didn't. Actually, that's a great time to talk about it because that definitely caused some headlines. So I didn't think too much about this Blue Beetle trailer because this is the only thing I saw before was the suit. I thought, oh, the suit looks really good. I saw
Looks straight out of Injustice.
Yeah, I saw because we saw it in the early casting, like some early set photos leaked, and we saw the actual. I'm like, oh, they actually. I thought the movie might actually at least be okay because it's a good sign if they actually care enough to make the suit look good. Probably the rest of the movie would be decent. The exact opposite was the case with Batgirl. When I saw that suit, I'm like, oh, this movie's going to be dog water. Lo and behold, but we got the first trailer for Blue Beetle, and it looked good. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked fun. It looked like a really fun movie. Great effects. The main actor, he was in Cobra Kai. I'm a fan of him. We got George Lopez in there, but apparently a lot of people were triggered by the end of the trailer when George Lopez's character called Batman a fascist.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously there for the lulls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I heard that and I was like, it's kind of funny. I can see how some people might take that approach.
In the context of the DC, that doesn't make any sense at all, actually, because most people don't even know who Batman is, or they think he's a myth. But I think that was definitely a joke for Twitter, and and that particular character is known to be a conspiracy theorist, so it kind of fits in his wheelhouse that he would have an opinion like, oh, Batman is a fascist. But that's a particular talking point that we see on certain parts of Twitter, where there's this argument that Batman is bad because he's a straight white man with a lot of money, that has been circulating in recent years, and the director of the Blue Beetle movie kind of played into that culture war thing when it came out on Twitter, when people started talking about it on Twitter. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like we can you don't want to make this a culture war thing with your movie. Just you had a good.
When has that ever worked?
Yeah, it does. when you go the whole I'm gonna insult legacy characters to appeal to Twitter. That usually doesn't work very well. So
No.
that's not something I would lean into. I think I think the movie looks decent enough that it doesn't need to use culture war bait to draw attention to it. I think the trailer could have stood up on its own. I definitely don't think the director should be leaning into it on social media by antagonizing fans, because once again, we know that does not well. I mean, you just saw
It doesn't take much either.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw what happened to Shazam's numbers. If I'm DC, I'm like trying my best to appeal to as many people as possible. Please go see this movie. Please do not Shazam this. Please see this movie.
Yeah.
And
I think it looks good though.
but-
I mean, I know a little bit about Blue Beetle, especially Jaime Reyes. I mean, I feel like Ted Kord to me is always going to kind of be Blue Beetle, but I mean, I feel like we've had Jaime a lot. That's how we say it, right?
Probably not, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes Jaime Reyes. He's been the Blue Beetle a lot recently, especially in a lot of like the big stuff they've done, like Lego DC supervillains
that's
and Injustice.
that's the Blue Beetle I'm used to.
Right.
So I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, I'm not either, and I think it makes sense to go with him. I'm interested. It looked really good. I mean, it looked visually appealing. I don't know how I feel about the family all being involved. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I read a lot of Blue Beetle comics. But I just feel like that's a little over the top. But
it felt very Shazam-y.
Yeah.
I felt like that.
Yeah.
I felt like that's the formula they went through. They were like, oh well, we had a lot of success with this one DC movie by going like more of a family and a fun, jokey vibe. Kept it a little lighter, so we'll kind of try that formula with Blue Beetle, which makes sense to me. You know, it's fine, and it looks like it'll be decent. I hope it'll be decent. I'm kind of interested in it. It definitely left me with a better impression than the Shazam 2 trailer did. Saw the Shazam 2 trailer. I said no, but Blue Beetle, because I might see that. I might see that. So
Yeah.
that's an improvement at least.
Yeah, I think it looks good. You know, I mean, I'm not expecting it to be like this masterpiece, but you know, I feel like it can do. I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, fun.
And
fun
that's
something for
another
family.
thing that I don't. Yeah, like that's a thing that I don't think people understand. Like, I'm fine if these companies just keep pumping out solid 7 out of 10 movies. Like, would I prefer that they're better? Yeah, but like a good 7 out of 10 movie is still fun. It's still passable, and it's still like advancing the story and involving characters that we love. And like, I think so many people get caught up in everything needing to be a masterpiece, otherwise it's a failure.
Like the Batman.
And no, the Batman. Listen, I'm not even a Batman fan, but that movie was special.
I don't know how it didn't win best cinematography. That was goddamn.
Yeah, like that movie was something else. And I don't even like their version of some of the characters. Like, I'm not like I didn't hate the Penguin, but it was
It was okay.
And I didn't love Catwoman, but you know, it was still.
I love how she looked. I didn't love what they did. I didn't love what they did with the character, particularly.
Right.
But I thought it was, and but I love how they portrayed the Riddler. Didn't like the outfit, but everything else was pretty good. Definitely wasn't a perfect movie. I thought the ending. I thought the extra ending was completely unnecessary, and they could have just cut it entirely. But if they had just ended it at the diner, I think that would have been perfect. Like, because they were clearly going for a 7. They were trying to make a Batman version of 7, and it just felt like they added on that extra half because they were like, well, it's a superhero movie, so you have to have a big climactic final battle. And just with how everything was building up, it felt unnecessary.
I don't hate that ending though, because
I didn't
it
hate it.
helped
I just
it helped Batman step into the light. You know what I mean? Like that was the whole kind of the purpose.
which is also a debatable direction itself, because a lot of the movie was basically focused on questioning why Batman even needs to be a thing, and kind of steering away from the whole dark vigilante aspect of it. I don't mind Batman. I don't mind how Batman kind of stumbled his way through because this is supposed to be basically Batman in year 2, but I do hope they do a better job in future films of showcasing how brilliant he is as a detective, because this is one of the few movies that actually at least attempted to go in that route.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really loved about it too.
Yeah, like, because Batman, that is fundamentally a detective, and mostly we just get him just punching people. That's not a thing. So I appreciated the effort there, but I felt like the extra ending didn't add anything to it. I think they could have tied it up better without adding that whole extra 30 minutes. But it's still like, I thought Nando actually had a much better ending for it than they did, but I still really enjoyed the movie. Visually, it was unbelievable. The soundtrack was fantastic, and I hope DC eventually has something great that's not Batman, that's not just Batman related, because that's just been the trend. It's been like the Suicide Squad was decent. I think ideally though they would want a movie that's not only good but also that makes money. That's not strictly Batman related, and I think they're hoping maybe Superman will do that. Superman Legacy will be that for them, a non Batman movie that is liked by fans and critics and actually makes the studio money.
Yeah, I'm like slipping out of my chair and it's annoying me.
I got my double cushion stacked, so I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
Well, the thing is, see, here's the thing that happened. Okay, I don't know if I've told the story yet, but I had a floor mat and it had all those little ridges under it that's meant to go on a carpet to kind of stick in place, and I hated it because the wheels would just keep getting stuck in the little ridges. So I got one that was smooth, but now my chair won't stay in place. Now my chair just randomly like rolls off on its own, and also for having a $1,700 computer chair, it is the most uncomfortable thing ever, and I have to have like extra pads on it as well. And the one that I have on it is like slick, so like I keep just slipping.
Yep.
When you add those two things together, I was like,
that sounds horrible.
yeah, so like I keep like slipping out of my seat. So
I'm sitting in an actual living room style armchair because I've basically given up on gaming chairs for now.
We got the Herman Miller Logitech one. You know what I mean? Like that everybody universally says this is like the best chair. And I disagree. It is not comfortable.
I don't believe anyone that says there's a good gaming chair. I don't believe it. Every time I get a gaming chair, it's okay, but it's not comfortable for sitting in long periods of time, and it breaks after 6 months.
Yeah, so like the last two chairs I got were ergonomic chairs. They weren't even technically gaming chairs. And the other one I got was like autonomous was the one that made it. And I just hate them. Like they don't feel comfortable. They use this like weird mesh system that is just not comfortable. I also tried getting like an actual like lounge chair kind of thing, and that didn't really work out either. So I don't know. I think I just need to find a good recliner.
We need to invent our own gaming chair. We we need
Yeah.
we need to get together and create our own perfect
You need to get like a
gaming
car
chair.
seat. You know what I mean? Like my driver's seat, I can drive in that for hours, you know? So why can't I should go get like go to a junkyard and
Yeah.
rip a driver's seat
Yeah,
out of a
we'll
car.
make a prototype. Get a really good driver's seat and put wheels put wheels on it. Make it recline, and we'll make a Kickstarter. We'll
Oh my god.
we'll sell.
Dude, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to Bose. When I worked at Bose, all right. So little known fact, Bose actually makes a lot of products that aren't like sound oriented. One of the things that Dr. Bose himself have been working on for years is something called Bose Ride, and they're specific seats for truck drivers, and it uses the idea of how sound works to like take away the vibration, and that is what like made it like great. And universally, like truck drivers that try them are like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. It like helps my back, all these things, because it's like taking out all that. But they're like $5,000. They're like insanely expensive. But yeah. Also, another thing that Bose had were like these shocks for cars. Again, playing off of how like sound waves work and stuff, and like it's kind of crazy. Like you don't think of Bose that way, but
There's definitely something here, Jay. What once I become rich, I'm gonna invest in this using some sound based technology combined with car seats to make the perfect gaming chair.
right.
and we're gonna put this product out, and we're gonna make billions.
Have you ever been in one of those what's it called, hypo something chambers, like the soundproof?
The hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah.
The sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah.
I have wanted to go in one. Haven't been in one yet, though. I have done psychedelics, so basically the same thing.
I got to go in the one at Bose with like 20 other people, and believe me when I tell you, like we were talking and you could not hear anything. It was insane. It was so weird. And I'm hearing impaired, so that like kind of messed with me even more. But like, yeah, like it just murdered sound.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite when you're on DMT. It's like you'll hear sounds, but it's not sounds from your reality. It like when I went under the last time, I was hearing, I couldn't hear my friend who was in the room watching me. I couldn't hear anything going on in the room, but I was hearing this weird alien music that was going on. It was, and it's like this constant thumb, and then you're seeing like weird patterns. He had a weird, crazy experience. He went through space and traveled through time and had this whole life experience. so it's so you can have some cool stuff happen in the sensory deprivation tank, but you can also just straight up take some DMT and just just go crazy. either way, yeah. I did try it because of Joe Rogan. Yeah, this is now the the Joe Rogan Sadat the Gamer Jay Shot Glasses here. But I definitely recommend. I can't strictly recommend. Don't do drugs, kids. But also, when psychedelics are awesome under a controlled experience. I definitely wouldn't recommend DMT at a party. That's not one of those type of deals, because one, it'll knock you out for 10 minutes, but it's more supposed to be like a spiritual experience, kind of like a ayahuasca trip, going to the forest kind of thing. But when I did mushrooms, I was also by myself. I just went in my room. I got a soundtrack for Spotify specifically for it. Listen to a Hammock. One of my favorite bands of all time. Partly because of that experience, actually. They were one of my favorite bands of all time before that mushroom trip. my favorite after that. amazing to listen to on psychedelics, but it's basically ambient post rock. So you put that on, get some orange juice, eat some mushrooms, and just kind of and lay back and let it all happen. Just enjoy it. Even better if you're in nature.
Now here's a question: have you ever had California orange juice?
California orange juice?
Yeah, somehow it's different. When we were in San Francisco, we had fresh squeeze California orange juice, and my wife still talks about it to this day.
No, I know I've had Florida orange juice. I have not had the Cali orange juice.
Yeah, it was delightful.
I mean, the fresher orange juice, obviously, the better. I've had fresh orange juice. I've had, obviously the stuff in the store can't be fresh because real fresh juice doesn't last that long. But I've had raw milk. I've had fresh orange juice. Yeah, it's that my family, on my dad's side has a farm, so I got some actual fresh bacon and eggs.
Oh, wow. My neighbors have some chickens, and they give us some eggs every once in a while. My mom's friend will bring us duck eggs, and they are actually really good.
I definitely recommend getting chickens. Especially with how things might be going with the economy. But I don't know if we're allowed to have chickens in my neighborhood. I have to check it out. But I would have to fix up my backyard a bit more to accommodate them anyway. But I would love some chickens. They seem cool. DMT is to not to go full Joe Rogan here, but DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is a substance naturally occurring in the body that has been turned into an actual drug, and it basically will take you on an extremely powerful psychedelic trip. If you've had mushrooms before, it's probably much closer to acid than that. Where'd Jay go? Where's Jay Shotglass? Jay Shotglass has disappeared. Was this whole thing a DMT trip? I've only had it once, but it was definitely a life-changing experience that it kind of shifts your perspective, makes you think of things a lot differently. It could help with it helped with anxiety. It's a crazy experience. Jay went to grab some shrooms, probably bathroom. Yeah, this might be a bathroom break. It is after 10 o'clock, so he might have had an emergency. So we'll hold it out in the meantime. I'll just play around with the chat. What's up, John Smith? Typical, yeah. Welcome. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you guys think I'm trolling. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about Jedi mind tricks. It's all good. We have a good sense of humor over on the Aftershow podcast. I think we covered the main stories that we wanted to touch on. Actually didn't get to talk about the Into the Spider-Verse trailer. I know a lot of people did their reactions to it already. I didn't do a reaction, but I thought it was amazing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm assuming you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, I said that, but I didn't yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I was just fixing something on my computer that I looked over and Jay would just disappear. I was like, what the hell?
Well, you were kind of talking. I'm like, I gotta take a bathroom break, and then I just went.
I thought you teleported. I was like, what the hell? I just saw all of a sudden I saw an empty chair. I was like, oh.
Well, we're like a little over 2 hours in, and you know what that usually means.
Yeah, that's why I checked.
It's
That's why I checked the clock. I was like, oh right, well, this is fine. I actually got into the health. I'm on my health kick again. I've been drinking I drank a gallon of water yesterday. I had some, similar in a similar container as that. I had some vegetables and eggs and cod as my meal. And
I hate fish.
I love it. I don't understand how you hate seafood. It's weird.
Let me tell you, I actually remember the last time I ate fish, and it was New Year's Eve 2000.
I could not go that long without fish. That's weird, bro.
That is the last time I had any kind of fish.
Fish is amazing.
I was at my friend Jennifer's house for New Year's, and it was like their family tradition that they would eat these like disgusting sardines, like or something like that, out of a can after midnight.
I can't vouch for that, but give me some crab legs, a lobster, and melted butter.
I'll eat shrimp.
Some fried shrimp.
I actually grill shrimp, like shrimp's like hibachi shrimp. You know what I mean? I like shrimp. But I hate seafood. You know what I mean?
So you don't hate seafood. You hate certain kinds of seafood.
I hate basically everything but shrimp.
Yeah, basically. So but you hate lobster. You hate crab.
Yeah, I'm not eating any of that crap. I might have
that's weird.
Like fried clams, but like specifically fried clams. Pretty much because it's just fried. So
fried clams, shrimp, but you won't touch crabs. You won't touch lobster.
No.
You hate chowder, clam chowder, which crazy based on where you live.
Dude, we're in like the seafood capital of the world practically, you know what I mean? Like,
what about salmon?
My mom loves lobsters. She'll come over with lobsters. And
what about salmon?
I ain't touching it.
You hate salmon?
What? Yeah.
You hate salmon too? Jesus.
I haven't. I literally told you the last time I had fish. And before that, it was probably the 1980s.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if it's texture. Trust me, I see like people make like salmon steaks all the time, and I'm like, that looks like it would be good, but no.
I went to my friend had my buddy had a barbecue. He invited me to, and he grilled up some salmon on the grill. Oh, it was amazing. It was so good. And he had shrimp and peppers and vegetables on a skewer to go with it. I was like, oh, Jay would hate this.
I very specifically when we lived in North Carolina when my dad was in the Marines, he would take us out fishing, and I remember one night we caught 3 sand sharks, and he grilled those things and made them up into steaks, and like they looked like they were good, but I did not enjoy it. And that was one of the last times I had.
So weird.
It was like sand shark.
Sure. I haven't gone fishing that often. I think I can count on.
Sam.
I can count on my fingers how many times. My dad took me once on a speedboat, which didn't go well because I got violently ill. And then when we went to visit the family on the farm, he took me out with my granddad, and we went fishing, and I caught one fish that was about probably this big. It wasn't much, but I was proud of it. We took it home. He showed me how to gut it and fix it up. We put it on the frying pan, grilled it up. It didn't taste that good, but it tasted better because it was something that I grabbed. Personally, I prefer. I do love seafood. Obviously, I'm not a weirdo like Jay. I love crab, lobster, and everything like that. But I love me some some tilapia, some salmon, especially butter that boy up, grill it up, bake it, Especially when it's tender and the meat just perfect. Love it. Love me.
Yeah,
And it's so healthy for you. That's the cheat code.
it's funny that Jedi mentions Jimmy's in Baltimore. When I went to Baltimore for some Red Sox Orioles games, we went to Fogo de Chao,
Bless you.
which is a Brazilian chain. Like, it's a Brazilian restaurant and it's a chain and it's literally everywhere. That was our great Baltimore dining.
I actually had the one thing I will say I'm not a fan of is crawfish.
Ugh.
I've heard great things. I've heard a lot of people, especially the Louisiana folks, talk about, oh, you gotta have some good crawfish. Got that good crawfish, and I had some good crawfish, and I was like, I could do without it.
Yeah, we used to do North Carolina. When I lived in North Carolina, we lived on Cherry Point, North Carolina, Marine Corps base, and we did a lot of fishing. We'd go out onto the coast, but on base there was like this one little dock, okay, and we would go there and we'd literally put a piece of chicken on a string and drop it into the water, and there'd just be crabs everywhere going after it. We'd just drop our net and we'd fill up like 3 coolers with crab. And like we used to always do this we would like our little block, we were in like a cul-de-sac kind of thing, with townhouses on base, and every summer we would have like a pig pickin' where my dad would rent a pig cooker, get a whole pig, but then also we would go get all those crabs.
Ooh,
And there'd be a big crab boil, and like, yeah, like that's what I remember from North Carolina. Like, the whole neighborhood came over, everybody like brought stuff,
that's what
and
I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was great, especially you bringing the family together. A lot of families come together over crab, and it's good. Like for me, I like convenience with my cooking, so I understand why some people may be annoyed with a crab and also when they have to break it apart and everything like that. But the rewards are great. But sushi can't beat sushi. Sushi is amazing. Jay, you don't make that. You're killing me here, Jay. How do you not like sushi? Sushi is unbelievable.
I love hibachi.
Sushi is got there. It tastes incredible. I like it better than crab and lobster, and it doesn't take any effort to eat. Just grab it and throw it in your pie hole. Sushi is amazing. I love it.
It's funny because like we lived in Hawaii for 3 years. So obviously, we're out in an area where there's a heavy, Asian influence in the culture. And my dad was stationed in Japan for a year. I didn't get to go on that, but he was there. And like, so growing up, I was always around Asian food. I just did not ever like sushi.
That's so weird. Wow.
Yeah.
I think
Love hibachi.
I think you're broken. I think so. I think something.
Nah, man.
Think
Like, I love hibachi.
I think your taste buds are broken.
We have a great place here called Kyoto, and
Hibachi's not real.
My favorite hibachi place. They make the best fried rice. Throw a little sriracha in it, and
oh my god,
just
that's
amazing.
That's the most American thing I've ever heard in my life, and I'm disgusted that you uttered it. Fried rice and sriracha. That's not Asian food, man. Get the fuck out of here. That is the most American.
It's literally
bullshit.
It's literally from Asia, imported. Even my cook.
They do it for the American audience. That's not.
I have literally watched them make rice on like, where's the uncle? What's his face?
Rice is a big part of Asian cuisine, but what you just described is American. What Americans think Asian cuisine is.
Hibachi?
So your sentence of fried rice and sriracha just just gave me the ick.
No, I'm telling you, we get you up into Worcester. I take you to Kyoto. You have their rice, and you'll be like, I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not going. I'm not going to eat. I'm not doing that. You're taking me to get some Asian food. We're getting an authentic bowl of ramen, and
Okay.
and some top and
Listen,
some.
this place has sushi. They have good sushi.
We're getting ramen. We're getting sushi, and we're getting takoyaki. And you'll eat it, and you'll like it.
We'll see.
If you don't, I'll just eat yours. So no big no big deal.
One of my friends lives in the Orlando area. Do you know there's like a Dragon Ball themed ramen place there?
In the Orlando area?
Yeah.
I did not.
Like the whole restaurant is Dragon Ball.
It's actually a drag. What is it's just a Dragon Ball themed restaurant because there's not like
they do ramen.
There's not like a Dragon Ball restaurant in the anime.
Ramen.
When Goku usually eats his food, it's either Chi-Chi, his wife, cooking at home, or he's at Bulma's and her chefs are cooking for him.
It's actually called Super Saiyan.
So there's
SOUPA.
So there's fans of Dragon Ball and they made a restaurant that has ramen. That's dope. Now, if someone wanted to do a Naruto themed restaurant, they wanted to make their own Ichiraku ramen shop, I would definitely be on board with that because that would be canon and have a nice little experience if someone could actually perfectly recreate that. That would be dope. But I'd be down to see for when I think of a Dragon Ball themed restaurant, it's got to be like a feast. Like when it comes to food at Dragon Ball, it's not really ramen in particular. It's like a combination of food. Like Goku eats like mounds of like combinations of things. It's like meat. It's like some Japanese, some Americans. It's like meat and I'll actually did a really good job in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot of capturing because eating is a part of the game. And
that's their Instagram.
We'll look them up as well. What are they called?
Super Saiyan, SOUPA. I think you know how to spell. Am I saying it right? Cyan.
Super Saiyan. Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh yeah. I think I see the photo here. Boom. We'll pull that up real quick.
I just know that my friend goes there every once in a while, and he'll like post pictures from it. I'm like, oh.
We got the pictures here, right here in Google. It's pretty cute. They got theme mugs, Dragon Ball theme merch. There's the ramen, some bacon in it. So,
yeah, I don't know what makes any of this good. So
looks okay, but yeah, when I think of a Dragon Ball Z restaurant, like you got to have like one, like we got to have one of these. You know, this is what I think of when I think of Dragon Ball, like these giant meals, these giant plates of food.
Yeah,
that's if someone makes this type of Dragon Ball restaurant like authentic, where you're just getting mountains of this different food, and that is something I would happily go to, and I would pay good money for. Mm-hmm. That to me would be an authentic Dragon Ball restaurant, like that's true to the lore, and I think in general would just be delicious. But a straight up ramen shop, I would love a Naruto themed ramen shop based on Ichiraku ramen. That'd be sick. And of course Jay would mix up all the characters when he's there.
Oh, you mean where What did I say? Nezuko and
don't bring up Nezuko.
Goku and
Too soon.
Nezuko are coming out to Fortnite next week.
Isn't that isn't that the 11th? The Attack on Titan
12?
things is happening.
Something like that. Yeah.
I might consider re-downloading Fortnite and jumping in with my Moon Knight and Master Chief skins that Jay Shockless get to me, because I have not spent any money on Fortnite.
Let me tell you, there's nothing more appropriate than gifting you Master Chief. It is like a life's accomplishment.
I will wear it proudly.
Master level trolling.
But for the sake of the rumbling, I might pop in on Fortnite, see what they're talking about. Just that's just the power of anime. Otherwise, I won't be doing it on the YouTube side. I'll be streaming it on Kick and Twitch, but I'm definitely going to consider it. But I gotta delete something, because 100 gigs for Fortnite.
Yeah, I actually had to delete some stuff too off of my Xbox hard drives.
I mean, Avengers is the easy choice, but
I just can't do it.
Yeah, I could easily just do 2K22, because it's 2K22, and it's just a pain in the ass every time, because the save functions are wobbly on that. But I can easily just lose that 100 gigs and grab Fortnite.
Maybe I will delete Avengers on Xbox, because I don't play it on Xbox. Or maybe I'll just move it to my other hard drive.
And so you have options.
I don't know.
You have options with it.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably leave Avengers up for now, because I still want to get capped to 175. So I'll play around with that. I've been playing. I just got Ghostwire Tokyo off PS Plus. I was streaming that yesterday. A lot of fun with that game.
I bought it when it came out. Never played it.
I recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah, I wanted the Steelbook, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to it eventually, and then I just didn't.
It looks really cool. I love exploring and get it. I've just been taking my time on the story. I've just been exercising some ghosts, stacking food, and giving. My new thing is I love finding stray dogs and giving them food and petting them. Just a great time. just a vibe.
Yeah, I was gonna change my hoodie, because like it is covered in Thor hair. I actually did use my lint brush before, but like when we were in with him, we were only in with him for like maybe 5 minutes. But I came out of it like just covered in dog hair. I do not understand how he shed so much.
Oh, that's but that is precious dog hair.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm not taking this hoodie. I wore this hoodie because like I know I'm gonna get dog hair all over it, and I don't care if I just wash it right away. But I was like, we're just gonna wear it.
And we can't tell, Jay, even with your super high quality
well, like 10, I said, 10K, brush.
10K Elgato.
I went crazy with the well, I keep seeing it, so
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
From my distance, I can't see it. I don't even have this. I don't even have a stat enlarged. Like even when I blow it up, you look very clean, Jay. Very clean.
Oh, good. I'm tired though, man. I slept like shit last night.
I feel you. I slept most of the day, so I'm like up. I dropped one.
Yeah.
I dropped one video. Then I slept most of the day. Then I started preparing for the show, which took like 2 hours. So now I'm up, and after this, I'm probably just gonna drink my second large container of water and continue watching some anime, because
I got a little bit caught up on Bad Batch, Star Wars Bad Batch.
I think I watched the first episode of that. I've been meaning to. That's something I definitely want to get through, just to justify at the very least my Disney Plus subscription. but but The Mandalorian, I'm not in a hurry. I'm probably just going to watch a lot of anime this weekend because a bunch of stuff is dropping, and I'm excited for it. This is a big day for the weebs. So we can wrap it up so Mr. Moneybags can get back to it, get some rest. Well, hopefully we'll catch Casual next week. Appreciate you as usual for hanging out. Appreciate Jedi Mind Tricks and Goat Walker for the gifties. Shout out Navaflo Eastwood, Capte always coming through, Jav, Lucky Ray Gun. We appreciate all of you. Make sure you subscribe to us over on the official Aftershow podcast YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitch as well. Be sure to drop a sub if you're feeling generous over on the Twitch side. Next week we might be streaming on Kick or Twitch. I'm gonna be experimenting for the after show, but we're definitely going to be streaming it off the YouTube end. Appreciate you, and hopefully we got some. I don't know if there's anything interesting happening in gaming. We'll see. I feel like everything is going to be happening later on, but you never know. Might something cool might happen. So in the meantime, I'm Sadat the Gamer.
I am Jay Shockblast.
Zip it up and zip it